Okay.
I've seen 3-bedroom houses go for $350 a month.
Wow. Okay.
I've also seen them for $1,250, $1,500 a month, but I'll tell you that if you're paying that much, you're living in a mansion.
Okay, so this we're meeting with my buddy Nathan Lake, and Nathan's my new friend from Cuenca, Ecuador. Nathan, man, thanks for being a part of the podcast.
No, my pleasure, man.
All right, so tell us a little bit about, I've heard amazing things about Cuenca. It's this really quaint, gorgeous town in Ecuador that a lot of people haven't heard of. Let us know a little bit about your backstory, where you're from and how you landed in Ecuador, in Cuenca.
Sure. I was living in the Seattle area, spent about 20 years there, and about 2 years ago, just decided that I'd had enough work. It just wasn't what I wanted to do anymore. I was working as a registered nurse, but I'd moved into IT and was helping insurance companies create websites for doctors. And when I decided I didn't want to work anymore, I looked at what my retirement situation was going to be. And I figured I probably could afford to retire in the United States, but maybe not live the lifestyle that I wanted to. I love to travel. I'm a photographer. I'm always out and about. And that's going to put a strain on my income in the United States.
Yeah.
So I started looking for places to live. And I originally considered Asia. I love Asia. I love Thailand, particularly northern Thailand. But there was some financial reasons for not doing that. And someone had mentioned Ecuador. And I started looking and very quickly realized that Cuenca is a city that is very attractive to most expats right now. The last I heard, it's still the number one, or is again the number one destination for expats, beating out Mexico for like the second or third year in a row.
Yeah.
It's a great, easy place to land for Americans.
Yeah, it sure is. I was looking at your photography. It is absolutely amazing. What is that? What's your website? Because we'll post all the links so people can find you.
Yep. omgphoto.com.
omgphoto.com. You got to see Nathan's work. It's absolutely amazing. I was checking out your Ethiopian stuff. Okay, so you said, and I love this because I've been thinking a lot like you. So you went out to Asia, you checked out these areas like Thailand, but yet there was some financial reasons why you didn't choose that and you chose Ecuador. What were those reasons? Because I hear nothing but great things about Thailand.
There's one thing you need to consider, and I don't know what the exact status of Thailand is right now, but a number of countries in Southeast Asia are taxing foreign income.
Okay.
And Ecuador does not. You want to bring money in. First of all, the US dollar is the official currency down here, so that makes it a lot easier.
Sure, yeah.
They don't tax money that you bring into the country.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So that's hugely beneficial. All right. Cool. Well, let's get into, so when you first landed in Ecuador, you had to get a visa. What kind of visa did you get, and what are the requirements to get a visa and live down there?
There's a lot of different visas you can get down here, and Ecuador makes it really easy to get a visa. I got a retiree visa. All you have to do to really get a retiree visa is show that you have an income of $1,250 a month.
Okay.
And I collected Social Security, so I just showed him my Social Security statement, which is more than $1,250. They don't even care about my savings. I mean, I could live on my savings, but I just showed him Social Security, and that was good enough. Took about 6 weeks from the day I stepped foot in the country until I had my visa and my Ecuadorian ID card. And that was the end of that.
Wow.
You can get visas as a digital nomad. You can get an investor visa.
Okay.
Take about $40,000, put it into a CD down here, and they essentially will give you the investor visa.
Wow.
And that CD is going to pay you about 10%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez. So it sounds like Ecuador is really good for everything so far. So you had to show them that for the retirement visa, $1,250 per month that you bring in. Do you have to be a specific age?
No.
Okay.
Just be retired. I mean, and the funny thing is you can work on a retiree visa if you want. If you want to be a digital nomad and work on a retiree visa, that's fine.
Okay. So I mean, could somebody like 30 go down there and say, hey, I do have an income of $1,250, a passive income with some rentals or whatever that I have, and I'm 30 years old, I'm going to retire. They'll honor that and give that person
I don't know if I'd bother getting a retiree visa if I was only 30. There's like a dozen different kinds of visas you can get down here.
Okay,
The requirements are all pretty much similar, but they want to categorize you correctly, of course.
gotcha. Okay,
Like I said, there's a digital nomad, there's an investor visa, there's a student visa, there's all sorts of things.
okay, okay. All right. And so when you got there, you had to find some place to live.
Yep.
So in Cuenca, the pictures, it almost looks like a version of Europe. It's just absolutely stunning.
I've got pictures of Cuenca that you wouldn't know you weren't in Europe. You know,
Yeah,
street side cafes next to big churches and cathedrals, the whole thing that you would see when you're traveling through Europe.
yeah, yeah. It is gorgeous and it's stunning. And you would so let's get so what can you get a rent for a flat for down there? What are the costs on the low end, and then basically, where somebody can live comfortable?
Well, Cuenca is one of the cheaper places in the country to live, actually. You can find a place outside of the city. Now that gives you some transportation issues, but just so you know that you can find places outside the city for $250 a month.
Okay.
I've seen 3-bedroom houses go for $350 a month.
Wow. Okay.
I've also seen them for $1,250, $1,500 a month, but I'll tell you that if you're paying that much, you're living in a mansion.
Sure. No, if that's outside the city, so you'd have to have some form of transportation.
Right.
Okay, so if you want to just get a place where you can walk the city and you have access by walking, what are you talking within?
I would say plan on spending $400 to $700 a month.
Okay.
I'm living in what's called Gringolandia. It's the
Okay.
part of Ecuador or part of Cuenca where most gringos seem to land when they first get here. I'm spending $700 a month, which is on the upper end of the scale.
Okay.
I've got a 2-bedroom condo and a high rise with 24/7 security, walking distance to the light rail, which is just right down the street.
Mhm.
The buses go everywhere here. There are more buses and taxis on the streets here than you would believe, more than New York.
Yeah. Wow.
I can go all the way across the city in a taxi for $3.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So transportation. Do they have Uber?
They don't have Uber. They have Uber Eats. The
Uber
problem
Eats?
is taxis
But
are
not
so
Uber.
cheap. Taxis are so cheap. Uber probably can't make it here.
Yeah.
They
Okay.
do Uber Eats on motorcycle.
Ah, wow. Okay. So so when you pay rent, are utilities included in your rent
It varies. For me,
Okay.
they are.
Okay.
My utilities and my internet are included for $700 a month.
Okay.
But it varies from place to place. You just have to ask the landlord if they're going to cover your utilities or not.
Okay.
If not, gas is really popular for cooking here. You can estimate $6 to $8 a month on gas.
Okay.
25 a month for electricity, and that's using a fair amount of electricity. I happen to be a video gamer at times, so my computer sucks a lot of power. My electricity bill will go as high as $40 a month.
Okay. Wow. How about water?
I don't think we pay for water here, to be honest.
Okay. So you're a gamer.
I do some, and not as much as I used to, but I do some.
My son would love you. He's
Well, that's the thing. All the internet down here is fiber optic. My connection's better here than it was in Seattle.
Wow.
I have about a 50 millisecond delay ping to the States.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Wow, that's great. So what do you spend for groceries a month? Like your basic needs for groceries.
There's 2 ways to do your groceries here. You can go to the local markets. I bet you I don't spend $100 a month.
Okay.
But if you go to Supermaxi, which is a big, huge grocery store, you can probably spend twice that much.
Yeah.
But let me give you a couple of examples. Strawberries are about $1 a pound.
Okay.
Avocados are 3, 4, or 5 for $1 in the city, 6 or 8 for $1 outside the city.
Yeah.
They sell eggs 30 at a time. They don't sell them by the dozen here. They sell them 30 at a time.
Wow.
And they're about $5.50 for 30.
Yeah. Wow.
So I figure 20 to 25% of what it would cost you in the US is what food is going to cost you down here.
Okay. Okay. All right. So we'll go with the 100. And you said transportation is really affordable. So based
I
on
take the light rail.
Okay.
Because I'm over 65, it costs me 17 cents per ride.
Okay.
If you're under 65, it's 34 cents a ride. And
Okay.
if you buy a single ride ticket just one time, it's $1. And
Okay.
that'll take you all the way across the city.
Wow. So if you had to break that down and estimate, how much do you think you pay per month to get around?
$10.
$10. Like,
I mean, I ride the Tranvia, but at 14 cents a piece, you know, that's, or 17 cents a ride, that's not very much.
yeah,
I
that's
put $6 on my Tranvia pass card a month and a half ago, and I've still got $3.50 left on it.
yeah, yeah. Okay. Okay, great. And what do people do in Cuenca for fun? What do you do for entertainment? And
Uh, Pretty much anything you want is available here in one form or another. Right across the street is the Jazz Society. It's a jazz club. A lot of people play pickleball down here.
yeah.
Not something I've ever been into, but it's pretty popular among the expats.
Hmm.
They've got theater here. I went to a Spanish dance show 3 or 4 months ago. They brought in a group from Spain.
Hmm.
They brought in a group from Cuba here the other day, a trio that sang and danced and played instruments.
Nice.
You know, looking around Cuenca in itself is a pretty interesting experience. A lot of people will just go down into the center of the city in the old historical district and walk around. I've done that, I don't know how many times, and I keep doing it over and over again. It's just beautiful down there.
Yeah. Does it get busy in the evenings in
It
those
gets
areas?
busy there's a lot of holidays here. Weekends are busy. But that's actually part of it, because there are a huge number of street vendors that show up when it gets busy.
Yeah.
They just had the Corpus Christi celebration here a week ago, 10 days ago, and there were literally hundreds of vendors selling candies and sweets on the streets.
Hmm.
Um,
Wow.
yep.
That's awesome. Okay, so if you have to break that down as far as like, so, and I'm including restaurants too, going out to eat at restaurants. So, I mean, typically, what would you pay for a meal, an Ecuadorian meal at a typical restaurant down there?
Well, typical's hard to say. I had lunch this afternoon at a place that specializes in lunch. That's all they do is lunch. Had chicken. I had the chance to have pork and some kind of sausage added to that, rice, salad, a drink. It was $2.50.
No.
uh, if you go to a nice restaurant here, you can
Yeah.
probably spend $12 to $15 on a meal.
Okay. Yeah.
I would say average is probably 6 or 7.
Yeah.
But
But
no,
I
you can
bet
easily eat for $2.50, $3 a meal.
I bet that meal was fantastic for 250.
It is, and they cooked it right there on the street. They set
Yeah.
up a stand outside their normal restaurant, and we're cooking chicken, and of course it smelled good, and that's what sucked me in.
Yeah. Wow. Nathan, so when you break all that down, of all the things that you do for fun, entertainment, restaurants, having maybe a beer or whatever, I mean, what do you think you spend per month on that?
I'll leave travel out of that because a lot of my
Yeah.
entertainment is travel.
Okay.
I probably spend $50 a month, $75 a month, because I eat out quite often.
Okay.
I mean, I'll eat probably 7 or 8 meals a week out just because I'm out and about all the time.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. And then the big one that a lot of people want to learn about is healthcare. What do you do? What do you do? What do expats do for healthcare in Ecuador?
Now, the healthcare system here is pretty simple. There's 2 healthcare systems. There's the public and the private. The public system is okay. If I had to have open heart surgery, I probably wouldn't go to the public system, but broken arm, colds, whatever, public system, and it's practically free.
Okay.
For the locals, for the citizens, it is free, but I believe if an expat wants to use it, it's $65 a month.
Okay.
And that's pretty much anything you want. But
And
there's
that's the public system for
that's the
65 a
public
month.
system. Yeah.
Do you pay that per month?
I don't use the public system. I
Okay.
have private healthcare insurance. And
Okay.
the private system here is, I won't say world class, but it's pretty darn close.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much anything you want to get a hip replacement done, it can be done here.
Okay.
I have private health insurance through Humana, actually. They offer health care down here, health insurance. I'm paying $120 a month. That pretty much covers everything. I have no copays. Now, it's a little different than in the US because it's a reimbursement system. You pay the healthcare provider when you go in. So I went to a dermatology appointment about 2 months ago, just to have a skin check. Cost me $45
Mm-hmm.
for the entire checkup. And then I submit a claim to the insurance company and they reimburse me.
They reimburse you. Okay.
Yeah. But $120 a month is really good insurance. When I first got here, I was spending about $200 a month, but that was insurance that also covered me in the US.
Oh, okay.
So I was flying back and forth to the US a couple of times when I first got here. So if I had incurred any healthcare expenses there, I'd come back and file a claim here and they would have reimbursed me. but 120 a month gets you really good insurance down here.
Okay. Yeah, that's great. That's really great.
I was spending 900 a month on insurance when I was living in Seattle.
Well, yeah, I mean that's the biggest. It's a big problem in the U.S. and
Yep.
that's why a lot of people, go overseas for their medical care.
And
And
making an appointment here is easy. You get on WhatsApp, you call your doctor, you say, I need an appointment. They say, come in tomorrow. And there you
yeah,
go.
yeah, and you got to wait months to see a doctor in the U.S.
Yep.
and it's astronomical. It's crazy. Yeah. Okay. As far as let me see here. So how about so the other couple things that I cover is if you know anything about purchasing homes and like I basically safety, but like Ecuador is a beautiful country and the people are incredibly warm. Um, what's your take on safety in Cuenca?
In Cuenca, it's incredibly safe.
Yeah.
Um, most of the violence that people may have heard about in the news here is drug related. It's gang on gang. They're not attacking expats. They're not going after regular citizens.
Yeah.
There's a couple of places in Ecuador where the gangs are pretty prevalent and you want to stay away from them. But it's like any city in the United States. There are certain places you don't want to go at certain
Sure.
times. You don't want to be there.
Yeah.
There was a murder here about 5 or 6 months ago. Guy was trying to break into somebody's house. They ended up killing him. They called it murder, but whatever.
Yeah.
Other than
Okay.
that, you get some pickpocketing from time to time, minor crime like that, but it's pretty safe here in Cuenca.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's what I figured. And my thing, I don't like to ask that question because there's the gangs in the United States are what's causing a lot of the murders and the death that you
Yep.
hear about constantly, especially in Chicago, where they have a real problem over there with that. So it's one of those things where you know where to stay and you know where to go and you know where not to go. And everybody has to
Yep.
figure that out when they live in a city, even in the US. Any idea about like purchasing real estate and how
Yeah,
complicated that is?
I have not done it, but I know people that have. It's not particularly complicated. You can spend anywhere between $30,000 and $200,000 on a house. 200,000 is a beachfront mansion. An average small 2 or 3 bedroom house outside of the city you can easily find for $40,000 or $50,000.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty straightforward, and that's one of the ways you can get an investor visa. If you buy
Okay.
a piece of property that's valued at $42,000 or more,
Yeah.
that qualifies you for the investor visa.
Okay. Is it hard to find a place within the city where you can move around and walk like just pop out your door, kind of European style living?
Not hard at all.
No.
There's a website called gringopost.com. I don't know if you're familiar with it. A lot of advertising there. If you're looking for a house, go on there and say you're looking for a house, and there'll be a half a dozen agents get back to you that day.
Okay. What are the costs within the city of Cuenca? Because it's so pretty, I would think that it's definitely higher.
It's more expensive, but it's still, by US standards, it's still really cheap.
Yeah.
I don't know what the cost of a home is within Cuenca. I don't have experience with that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, Nathan, that's pretty much, we covered everything fairly quickly. Is there any other cost that you can think of that the viewers might need to know of that we haven't discussed yet? Any other?
Well, something to keep in mind about traveling. If you come down here and you get a temporary residency visa, an investor visa, retirement, whatever it is, flying around Ecuador suddenly becomes cheap because there's a law here that says residents have to get cheaper airfare than tourists.
Oh, wow.
So it's about half of what a tourist would pay.
Yeah.
So once you get your residency visa, you can fly around this. I can fly from here to Quito, which is, it's only about 45-minute flight. I think I paid $90 round trip the last time.
Mm-hmm.
I flew to the Galapagos. I've been over there 3 times this year. It's about $180, $200 to fly from Guayaquil on the coast over to the Galapagos.
Yeah.
If you look as an American, go on Expedia, it's going to be $350, $400 easy.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Then once you turn 65, the price goes down again.
Yeah. So with your retirement visa, are you considered a resident?
I am a temporary resident, yes.
Okay. So
that
you
visa
do
lasts
get
for 2 years.
So you do get those better rates.
Yes, I do.
Flying. Very cool. Okay. So you're living, based on the numbers that you gave me, 700 and then We have hardly nothing. Okay, your utilities are included there. Then you got 800, 810,
If I
75
didn't
would be.
travel, I could easily live on under $1,000 a month.
You are so in Cuenca right now, you are living under how much?
I can live under 1,000 a month, and
Wow.
that's not including my travel.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that people are living down here on $700 or $800 a month.
And you have a beautiful apartment.
I overlook the river. I'm on the 6th floor of a 12-story building. It's pretty nice.
Wow. Good for you, man. I'm so happy to hear because you're the inspiration to this podcast. You are the very reason why I started this, because there's a lot of people that are like you thinking about, what am I going to do and how can I live a better quality of life on a certain number or figure that they have in retirement. And you can really do that quite well if you do explore areas in Asia, even Europe now. Europe has really come down, especially
Portugal is really a popular destination.
Portugal, but Spain. I mean, you can buy stuff all over Spain and Portugal and in Europe, or Greece and Italy for really affordable prices. It's incredible what you can buy condos for right near the Mediterranean.
You can buy a beachfront condo here and spend less than $150,000.
Yeah, no, it's really something else. Yeah, it's something else.
That's something we didn't talk about, is the weather in Cuenca.
That's true. Yeah.
The weather is exactly the same every day. It's a low of 50 degrees Fahrenheit, a high of 70, 75. If it's going to rain, it's going to rain at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It's gorgeous here. It's called eternal spring, and all up and down the Andes, that's what you have.
Is there any water in Cuenca? There's no water there.
Oh God, it's beautiful. The mountains, it's surrounded by mountains.
Yes.
It rains in the mountains every day.
Yeah.
And so they have this constant flow of water coming down out of the mountains. They got 3 rivers that run through Cuenca.
Yeah. Are there any lakes there or anything?
Lakes are interesting. There are no large lakes in Ecuador.
Uh-huh.
But the mountains are full of these tiny little lakes, thousands of them. And that's where the water is stored on the days that it's not raining.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
There are no large lakes here.
See, that's my thing. I'm like a beach. I love to be near the water. I love to be near the ocean.
Go to the beach.
And I don't even know how you do that. When you live in Cuenca, you'd have to definitely get on a plane, because driving.
You can fly, or you can take a bus. It's about 3.5 hours to the coast. But a lot of people living on the coast. The cities of Salinas and Manta are gorgeous.
Well, Nathan, thanks so much, man. I appreciate you sharing all of this information about Cuenca and Ecuador.
My pleasure.
Yeah, it's a pleasure to meet you, and have a great rest of the day, man.
I will. You too.
Okay, thank you.